Hare Krishna, everyone. In this session, we're going to look at a beautiful story by the most glorious Acharya, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. It's about the yogi's wager. So in this story, there was once a servant and a rich man. The servant of the rich man came before his master one day and told him of an interesting yogi he had seen in the river. The servant said that this yogi claimed he could stay in the water all night in the middle of the river without any outside heat. The yogi was willing to take a bet with anyone to prove that he could do it. When the rich man heard this, he decided to bet against the yogi. The bet was made to see whether the yogi could stay in the water all night. So, this was the cold season, and generally India is a warm country, but in North India in the winter it does get quite chilly. So that was in the cold season, which means it was quite a feat to stay in the river up to one's neck all night. The yogi went into the water, and the rich man and the servant went home. Of course, there were always some people going by who could make sure the yogi was there in the water. And the next day, when the rich man and the servant came back, it was reported to them that indeed this yogi had successfully stayed in the water all night. The rich man was thinking, all right, so this yogi won the bet. But then the rich man had one clever friend, and this clever friend said, wait a minute, you see that light? And he pointed to a faraway temple. On top of the temple, there was a ghee flame burning. This clever man claimed that this yogi, by his mystic power, could draw heat from that faraway light and bring it into his body. And that was the reason why he could stay in the water all night. Actually, it's not that he's austere. It's not that he endured the cold. So then the rich man said, oh, that's a very good explanation. So why should I pay him? And then he refused to pay. So the servant, he didn't think that was fair, and he wasn't very happy. Anyway, the rich man and the servant had to go home. So they went home, and the rich man then said to the servant, my dear servant, now go to the kitchen and cook me my breakfast. The servant went into a kitchen, and the rich man was waiting and waiting and waiting, and he was sure that by now there should be breakfast. So he was calling, where is my breakfast? And the servant came out and said, it takes a little time, just be patient. So he went back in the kitchen, and again the rich man waited and waited, and he went, where is my breakfast? The servant said, sorry, master, it takes a little more time. So he waited and waited, and he got impatient, and then he stormed in the kitchen, and he said, what's going on? Where is my breakfast? And he saw that the servant had made on the floor a very small flame, and then from the ceiling he had hung a pot, and the pot was 2 meters above the little flame, and the servant was just standing there. So the rich man said, what are you doing? And the servant said, oh, since you believed that this yogi was taking heat from that faraway fire, so I'm also doing the same. I am taking heat from this fire here, this little flame. I'm cooking your breakfast in the same way. But it's going very, very slowly. Then the rich man could understand that he had been unfair to that yogi. So he went back and he paid him. So our Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, told this story to illustrate that we should follow the process if we want to get the results. It's just like if you want to have nicely cooked breakfast, then you have to put the pot of food directly on the flame. You can't make such kind of a foolish arrangement where you have 2 meters separating the flame from the pot. You will never get the result. Similarly, when we take to the process of Bhakti Yoga, we're chanting the holy name of Krishna. We want to get the result of love of Godhead. But in order to get that, we have to follow the process correctly. So what that means is we cannot, for instance, be chanting Hare Krishna, and on the strength of chanting we're committing all kinds of sinful activities, and we're thinking, for instance, that the chanting of the holy name will counteract all these sinful activities that we're doing in parallel. So we can't be doing all kinds of nonsense in between and be wondering after, say, 10 years of practicing and 10 years of chanting Hare Krishna, where is my love of God? We may think, what's wrong with this process? It's not working. We're not seeing results. And then we start to blame the process. Well, that's not how it works. In this age of Kali, Lord Chaitanya, 500 years ago, came down to teach us how to reach perfection at the end of this very lifetime, simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It's a simple process and no qualification is required. However, if we want to attain Krishna Bhakti, love of Krishna, Krishna Prema, then we need to follow all the guidelines that our acharyas have laid down. For instance, Srila Prabhupada says there are 4 regulative principles which will elevate us to the mode of goodness so we can practice spiritual life properly. So we know these 4 regulative principles: no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling. So if we, for instance, say it's okay, so I will not eat any meat, but it's okay a couple of times I go to the casinos and I gamble a little bit, it's all right. Well, it isn't. We do need to follow the process. And we can't take some instructions while rejecting others according to our own conveniences, according to our own whims. If we love Krishna, then we need to show him our love by doing what he likes and not by doing things that we like. How can we say we love God if we do things that he doesn't want us to do? As a lot of people say they love God, but then they're not really following the instructions. So So chanting the holy name is very, very effective. Krishna has invested all his potencies in his holy name, and all we need to do is just chant this name while avoiding 10 offenses, which acharyas say it's likened to a mad elephant that is trampling on our creeper of devotion.